Hi, and welcome to Plymouth Library. I'm the librarian at Plymouth Congregational Church in downtown Seattle, and I want to share some read-alouds for ages 4 and up, the verbal child. This age group appreciates humor and wordplay. They're ready for stories with a plot. We're going to look at an old favorite to see what makes a good read-aloud. And this is Madeline's Christmas. And it starts out the same way that all the Madeline books do. In an old house in Paris that was covered with vines lived 12 little girls in 2 straight lines. So the story is a wonderful one. It starts out in this familiar way, and then it ends up with a great adventure where all the little girls are flying around on magic carpets. So this has something that children really like, the reassurance of familiarity. They also love humorous books at this age. And so I want to share Monsters Eat Whiny Children with you. Once there were 2 perfectly delightful children who were going through a terrible phase, which is to say they whined all day and night. Their kindly father warned them that monsters eat whiny children. They didn't believe him, so they whined and whined until finally one day a monster came and stole them away. He brought them back to his lair on the bad side of town. He began making a whiny child salad. "I don't like sitting on lettuce," Henry whined. "No wooden bowl," whined Eve. The monster made dressing, poured it on Henry and Eve, and called his wife in for dinner. She sampled the dressing and spat it out. "I hate cilantro," she said. "Start again, and this time use paprika." "I hate paprika," said the monster. "No, you don't," said his wife. "Oh, okay," he sighed. So he hosed off Henry and Eve and made a new dressing with paprika. His wife tasted it. "I love it," she said. Everything was perfect, but just as Henry and Eve were about to get back into the wooden bowl, a neighbor dropped by and asked the monsters what they were doing. When they told him, the neighbor totally freaked out. "You've got 2 wonderfully whiny children and you're going to make a stupid salad," he said. Well, he had been wanting whiny child burgers. So this is a great story about all the things they tried to do with these whiny children to make them tasty. Well, you'll have to read it to find out the end. This is Double Trouble in Walla Walla by Andrew Clements. A great example of wordplay. It was an ordinary Monday morning in Walla Walla until Lulu raised her hand in class. "Mrs. Bell, I feel like a nitwit. My homework is all higgledy-piggledy. Last night it was in tip-top shape, but now it's a big mishmash." Mrs. Bell said, "Nitwit? Higgledy-piggledy? Mishmash? Lulu, stop that flip-flop chitter-chatter or you'll be in double trouble." Lulu said, "But I'm not trying to flip-flop chit-chat. I just have an itty-bitty problem with my homework." Mrs. Bell scowled. "All right for you, Lulu. If you're going to shilly-shally and dilly-dally with all this fancy-schmancy yak-yak, we'll just have to trit-trot down to the principal's office." So that's what they do. But unfortunately, this double talk has spread all over the school, and so even the principal was talking double talk. Well, finally, and I will tell you this, they found a cure for all the double talk. The 2 Bobbies isn't funny. It doesn't have rhythm or rhyme or repetition, but it has a lovely story about the friendship between a cat and a dog. Most children like stories about animals, and they will really love this true tale of survival with a happy ending. It's The 2 Bobbies, a true story of Hurricane Katrina, friendship and survival, by Kirby Larson, a local author. Children in this age group are ready for stories with a plot, and this is a really good one for them. Now, I am a great proponent of using picture books with all ages. So this is a good one for middle school, high school, adults. I find it to be one of the best stories that I think I've ever read, but it's very, very difficult for me to read it aloud or read all of it aloud because it's very sad. It's called Pink and Say by Patricia Polacco. When Sheldon Russell Curtis told this story to his daughter, Rosa, she kept every word in her heart and was to retell it many times over in her long lifetime. Sheldon had been injured in a fierce battle and was left for dead in a muddy, blood-soaked pasture somewhere in Georgia. He was a mere lad of 15. He lay there for 2 days, by his reckoning, only to slip into unconsciousness and fever. He was rescued from this field by another lad who had also been separated from his company. I will tell it in his own words as nearly as I can. I watched the sun edge toward the center of the sky above me. I was hurt real bad. For almost a year I'd been in this man's war, the war between the states. Being just a lad, I was wishing I was home. My leg burned and was angry from the lead ball that was lodged in it just above my knee. I felt sleepy and everything would go black. Then I'd wake up again. I wanted to go back to our farm in Ohio, and sometimes, when I'd fall into one of them strange sleeps, I'd be there with my ma, tasting baking powder biscuits fresh out of her wood stove. Then I heard a voice. For a moment I thought I was fever dreaming, but then I felt strong hands touch my brow, splash water in my face. "Being here, boy, means you gotta be dead," the voice said as he gave me a drink from his kit. "Where you hit? 'Cause if it's a belly hit, I gotta leave you here," he said. I had never seen a man like him so close before. His skin was the color of polished mahogany. He was flying Union colors like me, my age maybe. His voice was soothing and his help was good. "Hit in the leg," I told him. "Not bad if it don't go green." "Can you put weight on it?" he asked as he pulled me to my feet. "We got to keep moving. If we stay in one spot, marauders will find us. They're riding drag and looking for wounded." So that's how Say met Pink. And they hid out while Say's injury was getting better and better, but eventually they ended up in prison in Andersonville, and it didn't end well. I know this story to be true because Sheldon Russell Curtis told his daughter Rosa. Rosa told it to her daughter Estella. Estella, in turn, told it to her son William. He then told me, his daughter Patricia. When my father finished this story, he put out his hand and said, "This is the hand that has touched the hand that has touched the hand that shook the hand of Abraham Lincoln." In this short picture book, Patricia Polacco told a story that is more memorable than anything that a child is going to read in a history book. The power of stories. Share them.